lozenges, and one throat lozenge took care of it, but it was like one spot right afterwards. That was good, but it was a little too strong for me. I'm not a
Jimmy?
Well, I understand. I mean, and if you aren't, that's
Jimmy.
not the way to start. You know?
Jimmy.
I do beer, and I do. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm
how
well,
are you
thanks.
doing?
How are you today? All set to go?
So what are we doing today? Recommendations and awards?
Well, of course it's early yet, you know. We'll check later and see.
Yes.
Oh, yes. So, yeah.
How are you? I'm so glad to see you here. I was
Morning,
telling
Admiral.
people
How are you
yesterday,
today?
This wouldn't be NACON without the Philippines.
Bourbon's
You
good.
know, you're my favorite.
Well, you know, there's a downside.
You're my favorite part. She'll get me later.
We do that at Amtrak and other places.
But thank you so much for
Kind of
making the trip,
size
especially
to
these
room,
days. You know, with the
bring
way
staff.
travel
I
is,
normally
it's a
drive,
nightmare.
So I
really
get to bring
appreciate it.
stuff. If there's anything left over.
Very good, very
Oh,
good, very good. I tried to come visit you folks and it just didn't fly, literally. But we're still working on that.
Excellent. You'll get to have more chances.
Good, good. All right, great. So glad to have you here. You guys, thanks for coming in. Anything I can do, let me know. Okay, great.
Yeah, as long as you're not 5'4", that's fine.
How are you doing, Sweet Poo?
That you, Bob Lauer, will be doing it, but not 5'4". That's where the confusion comes. Thank you. Good morning, Adam.
That way,
Always welcome. Such a
how are you this morning?
Thank you. And
I'm like others.
how are you?
Got sniffles and little
Just
cough and
wonderful.
sneeze and goofy eye. No, yeah, pox on you. I don't have a problem.
A lot of it is exhaustion, honestly.
Again, I'm like Alex. I tested it 2 weeks ago. It's just, you get in these places, you know, and there's
It's like, well, you're having the party.
not the air.
No.
It's also exhaustion because we're all exhausted right now.
Makes for a long week, doesn't it?
It makes for a long week, but you're more
Me
susceptible
too.
to.
Me too.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
All right.
Okay.
Could be the bourbon too.
How are you today, sir?
Yes.
So cool. That was nice. Thank you. Good morning. We were talking about you again.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. Now it's better.
Excuse me, would everyone take your seats, please?
I'm a swimmer. I like to swim. That's my exercise.
Have you been?
A few of the days I'd be out there in the dark swimming at 6 a.m.
Good for you. I brought my goggles and my swim trunks too. It was good morning, James. Oh, good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Welcome back. Of course, the first announcement, I better comply with it. Put your cell phones on silent. Last thing I want to do is be the bad guy. And now, of course, we have a script for this, and fortunately, times have changed. The first part of the script was a reminder that Orlando was a high transmissibility region, but it no longer is. So that's great news. So we are not required to wear masks, so that's great. Although I keep telling Terry, a lot of people think I look better with a mask, but it's not required. I reconvene the meeting of the National Board, call for a visual confirmation of a quorum. I attest to NEXCOM and the President of NAC, and ask the DNACOs to attest to their areas. Commodore Barth.
Atlantic East, all here.
Commodore Mullally.
Atlantic West, President.
Commodore Kirkwood.
Back here, right here.
Great.
It is my pleasure to introduce the head table. Please hold your applause until all are introduced. First, the National Commodore, Alexander Molesky.
Here.
To his right, Deputy Commandant of Operations, Vice Admiral Peter Gaudier. To his right, Commodore Linda Merriman, Deputy National Commodore, Information Technology and Planning. Continuing to her right, Commodore Thomas Mullally, Deputy National Commodore, Atlantic Area West and Mission Support. To his right, the Chief Director of Auxiliary, Captain Troy Glendye. On Commodore Molesky's left, Vice National Commodore Gus Fermato. To his left, Rear Admiral Brendan McPherson, 7th District Commander. To his left, immediate past National Commodore Larry King. To his left, Commodore Mary Kirkwood, Deputy National Commodore, Pacific Area and Operations. To her left, Rear Admiral Wayne Arguin, the Assistant Commandant for Prevention Policy. And to his left, Gary Barth, National Commodore, Atlantic Area East and Recreational Boating Safety. I did also want to welcome
Somebody.
I can't remember rank, I'm so sorry. From the Philippines active duty, Captain Aro. I think, was I correct, Captain?
Yes.
Thank you. My mind isn't totally gone. His flight, he went through the flight cancellations and delays and stuff, was supposed to have been here, you know, Thursday evening, but made it in time for today. At a special table befitting their positions, we have our past National Commodores, Commodore Stephen M. Boudart, 28th National Commodore, Commodore James Vass, 30th National Commodore, and Commodore Richard Washburn, 33rd National Commodore. There are also some special guests who've taken time from their busy schedules to be with us. From the U.S. Power Squadron, Chief Commander Craig Frazier. From the National Boating Federation, Commodore Carolyn Belmore. From the National Weather Service, National Marine Program Leader Darren Wright. From U.S. Sailing, Mr. Ed Huntsman. Quentin Stubbs and Nick Alvarado representing NOAA. Coast Guard Ombudsman Lori Carrington and Ryan Fallenkamp. From the National Safe Boating Council, sadly, Peg Phillips was sick and couldn't make it. And from Coast Guard Mutual Assistance, Erica Chapman. Most of our international guests are in roundtable discussions this morning, but we have representatives from the Bahamas, Curacao, Dominican Republic, Philippines, and we had a surprise gentleman from Canada come in yesterday. From Coast Guard Headquarters, Chief Director's Office, Commander Bradley Winans, Lieutenant Chris Booth, YN1 Samantha Tober, Master Chief Travis Park, Commander Steve Minatulo, Commander Steve Keel, and Chief Petty Officer Zig Wilson, the last three all U.S. Coast Guard retired. And also a thank you to any of our DIROCS, OTOs, and active duty that could join us.
Thank you, Terry. Each member of the board has received a copy of the minutes of the board meeting from our national meeting on March 25th, 22, the in-person meeting in St. Louis, Missouri. At this time, I'd like to request a motion to waive the reading of those minutes. Motion made by Mark Stone, seconded by Pat Miniman. All right. You think of it, how times have changed. If you don't have to read the minutes, go watch it on YouTube. The motion to waive the reading of the minutes from our national meeting on March 25th, 2022 has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand.
I think it passed.
Let's make it easy. Is anybody opposed? Motion granted. Motion approved. Is there any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor, raise your hands. Raise your hands again. The motion to adopt the minutes of the board meeting from our national meeting has passed. Is there any old business to be brought before the national board? Hearing none. Is there any new business to be brought before the national board? Hearing none. We will now consider the recommendations submitted for consideration and action by the national board. Vice National Commodore Fermato, for now, will present the recommendations.
Good morning. I've heard my name pronounced many ways, but I never heard it pronounced Formato for now, until today. The recommendations have been discussed at area meetings, the Committee of the Whole, and have been in your hands for at least 2 weeks. I will summarize each recommendation before it is considered. The actual text, okay, as he's flipping the page, the recommendation is that which will go to BSX if the recommendation is approved by this board. The first recommendation is for the consideration and action was submitted by Assistant National Commodore Chief Counsel Doug Cream to amend the standing rules of the National Board of the Coast Guard Auxiliary by deleting Standing Rule 3.4 that provides, and I quote, "Nothing in Rule 3.3 shall be construed to prohibit or limit the making or consideration of motions by members of the National Board which are otherwise in order." Do I hear a motion to approve this recommendation? Mark Stone, second, and it looked like Pat Feary. Mark Stone made the motion, looks like Pat Feary, second. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Mrs. Barth, Commodore Cream, if you'd be so kind. Put your hands down. Thank you. Motion passed. Second recommendation. Recommendation for consideration and action was submitted by Deputy National Commodore for Lant Area West, Tom Mullally, which was modifications for the requirements of the Auxiliary Operations Service Award to change the auxiliary manual, Chapter 11, subsection alpha.11.foxtrot parentheses 2. While being considered for Operations Service Award, this change will allow members of the Auxiliary Air and Surface Operations Program to be credited for all hours spent underway or while airborne and up to 25% of the hours for training taken to prepare and remain current and proficient in any surface or air certifications. Do I hear a motion to approve this? Fifth Northern and seconded by First Northern. A motion has been made and seconded to approve the change in the Auxman. Is there any discussion? Those in favor of this recommendation, please show of hands. Opposed? Motion passes. This concludes the recommendations. Thank you.
It is my honor to introduce our 7th District Commander, Rear Admiral Brendan C. McPherson, headquartered in Miami, Florida. As District Commander, he is responsible for all Coast Guard operations in the Southeast United States and the Caribbean Basin, including Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The 7th District encompasses an area of 1.8 million square miles and shares operational borders with 34 foreign nations and territories. A native of Bradley Beach, New Jersey, exit 100.
Very good.
Rear Admiral McPherson graduated with honors from the U.S. Coast Guard Academy in 1989 with a Bachelor of Science degree in management. He also earned a Master of Arts degree in Public Relations from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill School of Journalism and Mass Communication, and holds a Master of Arts degree in National Security and Strategic Studies from the U.S. Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island.
Terry, we've only got 10 minutes, so
Okay.
I think
Take it away.
that should do it. Thank you. Thank you, and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 7th District. It's really my pleasure. It's really my great honor and pleasure to welcome you back to Orlando for NACON. I think this is the third or fourth time the NACON's been here in Orlando. We love having you in our backyard in the 7th District, and under the leadership of our Commodore Pat McMenamin. Thank you, welcome. I hope this is a great opportunity for you and a good experience, and I can tell you it's great to be with you all, and I mean that quite literally. Having come off of COVID, it's nice to see the auxiliary, our Coast Guard, back together as a team and working together. So thank you. I'm just going to take a few minutes this morning to talk a little bit about our areas of focus in the 7th District, and most notably the incredible contributions of our Coast Guard auxiliary in D7. So it's been an incredible year. It's been a great year. Our auxiliary has been responsible for saving at least 40 lives and protecting more than $2 million in property within the 7th District. And our Coast Guard auxiliary members have been out and about, conducting over 15,000 vessel safety checks and over 17,000 dealer visits to enhance and support our recreational boating safety program. This is a 77% ahead of our last year. So we're making great strides. In all of fiscal year 21, over 400,000 total mission hours were logged by our auxiliaries throughout the 7th District. So I could not be more proud of the incredible work that our men and women in the Coast Guard Auxiliary are doing in support of the boaters, the public in the 7th District, and quite frankly throughout this nation. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Let me just begin with a little bit about our focus of operations here in the 7th District. It's an interesting time. I've been in command here in Miami at the 7th District for the last year, having taken command just last July. And almost since the moment I took command, our emphasis and focus has been on migrant interdiction operations. But interestingly, being the 7th District, we're always very mindful of all the other mission sets we have in the area, from counter-drug operations to national disaster response, hurricane response, search and rescue, marine safety, recreational boating safety, and many others. On our migrant interdiction operation mission, some of you probably seen it in the news, and so since the beginning of this fiscal year, we have seen a significant notable increase in irregular migration, maritime migration throughout the Caribbean, most notably from Haiti and Cuba. This fiscal year, we've observed a flow of over 25,000 migrants throughout the region, which is a significant increase than we've seen in the recent past. Not unprecedented, but significant in the sense that it has been enduring over the last 5 to 6 months. So as the district commander, my team has been focused on getting after that. For us, for me, it's principally about saving lives. For whatever reason, migrants who go to sea in unseaworthy or overloaded vessels present a significant danger to themselves. And so we've been focused on getting after that. In addition to being the 7th District Commander, I also wear a second hat as the Director of Homeland Security Task Force Southeast. And that's a DHS interagency task force, along with our state and local partners. And the goal and the intent of that operation, and it's a standing task force, is to deter, prevent, and if necessary, respond to a mass migration in the Caribbean. So again, we've been spending a lot of time and effort on that. We've enhanced, with the support of Coast Guard Headquarters, Atlantic Area Command, my boss, in bringing additional resources to bear: aircraft, ships, boat, and people. And the auxiliary is a significant part of that, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Beyond that, on the counter-drug front, we're still very focused on that as well. We've seen a significant, or a notable, I shouldn't say significant, but a notable shift in some of the drug flows from the Eastern Pacific into the Central Caribbean. So what are we doing about that? We've got a couple of things. We've been doing pilot programs with a shore-based air use of force, an H-60 helicopter based out of Puerto Rico, supported by Coast Guard Air Station Clearwater, to test, evaluate, and further our efforts towards establishing a program of record for shore-based air use of force. We've been doing that for many years from our cutters. We think now is the time, as we transition to an H-60 fleet, the Jayhawk fleet, that we can take advantage of that. So we'll continue to work that. The other thing is we're working very closely with our allies and partners, and I know we've got some representatives from Curaçao here. So as we sit here today, there is a Coast Guard law enforcement detachment on board the HNLMS Groningen, a Dutch Navy Caribbean Coast Guard ship. And so we routinely put our Coast Guard law enforcement teams aboard our allied ships from Canada, France, UK, and the Dutch to work jointly, interoperably, in support of Joint Interagency Task Force South out of Key West. And the other thing we're doing is we've started in this last year Operation Sentinel Strike. And if you're familiar with our newest fast response cutters, the 154-foot patrol boats, these are great assets, highly capable. And what we've learned is that we don't want or need to operate them like we did the 110-foot patrol boats that they replaced. So we're able to really maximize employment by pushing them down as part of a dynamic force package with our air use of force, with our allies, in pairs to get after that counter-drug threat in the Central Caribbean. So those are just a couple of things we're doing there. Again, we're also, search and rescue in the 7th District. That's sort of our bread and butter mission here. The Coast Guard Auxiliary, significant contributor there as we target illegal operations, unsafe boating operations, and really focus on that prevention piece of that through our recreational boating safety program. And I shared some of those statistics. So we're very happy to do that. And the other one is space. Not far from here in Cape Canaveral, we've seen a significant increase in NASA, SpaceX, and others, Blue Origin, conducting space operations launches. And the Coast Guard has a unique authority and responsibility to ensure on the maritime side of those things, those operations are safe. So we're leaning into that space. It's relatively new for the Coast Guard as we sort of stretch the limits of our authorities and regulations and work with the industry to facilitate that as we get into the new frontier, but make sure that we're doing it in a way that is safe. So let me transition a little bit to the Coast Guard Auxiliary. As I said, tremendous partners for us in D7. We could not do what we do without them. Just a couple of unique observations I had in this past year. One is the Auxiliary University Program. If you're not familiar with that, I was not until just recently. But what a great program. This is bringing in young folks, young students who are at universities and bringing them into the auxiliary and taking advantage of their skill sets and their enthusiasm and their capability and their capacity. And you may have seen the MCPOG just put out a tweet highlighting one of those, Amber Porter, an auxiliarist in Sector St. Pete, who spent her summer at Sector St. Pete. And what tremendous things she did there. She's certified as a drone pilot. She responded to pollution cases. She was involved in their incident command system and really not only contributing, but preparing her for her future as I think she's interested in going to officer candidate school. So what a great candidate. Another one that I had a personal interaction with was Aiden Simmons. He's a student at Virginia Military Institute. I was underway doing battlefield circulation, as they call it in the other services, on the Coast Guard Cutter Tampa and a few of our fast response cutters in Sector Key West, and had the opportunity to run across this young man. He's a Virginia Military Institute student, part of their Corps of Cadets. He was underway, volunteered his summer to serve aboard the Tampa, conducting migrant interdiction operations. He's certified EMT, and what a great young man he was, and as a part of our auxiliary, really represented the auxiliary well. The crew relied on him. They hated to see him go back to school because he was contributing so well. And he too has put an application in for officer candidate school. So those are just a couple of the examples. Let me put a more personal face on it for you, and I'll wrap up here. I took command here last July. As any PCS, it's a big transition. I have a daughter who was going into her senior year in high school, her third high school in 4 years. And we arrived and started to get set up. We went to the change of command, and I met this wonderful auxiliarist at my change of command. He was helping out the cooks as a culinary specialist. And And what a wonderful person, and you know, just kind of went about my business. Well, we were registering our daughter for high school and having a bit of a challenge, if you can imagine that. Getting her registered in classes and those kind of things. During COVID, difficult to get into the school. As it turns out, there he is, David Soderholm, a teacher at the school. He sees us, recognizes us, says, send your daughter over tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. She goes over the next day, she's registered, she's ready to go to school. So my point on that is not only are our auxiliaries contributing to our Coast Guard mission, boy, what great pillars in our community and giving back. And just a great experience for me, and I think indicative of our Coast Guard Auxiliary today. Many others, Rick Braswell, our auxiliary chaplain down in Miami, Admiral Kurt Tidd, who I don't know, Commodore, might possibly be the only former 4-star flag officer who's in our auxiliary, former U.S. Southern Command commander who works in Station Islamorada. So again, just a great example of our auxiliary today. I'm super happy to be here, inspired and motivated by all of you, and look forward to continuing to work together. So thank you for what you do. Semper Paratus.
Admiral. Chopsticks. Thank you very much.
Commander Winans, would you please come to the podium for some awards? Vice Admiral Gautier, Rear Admiral McPherson, Rear Admiral Arguin, Captain Glendye, and Commodore Molesky. Would you please come down in front of the podium for some awards?
Good morning. We have awards that recognize several distinguished auxiliarists this morning. The Auxiliary Commendation Medal is awarded to auxiliarists in recognition of outstanding assistance that furthers any of the auxiliary's authorized activities except operations. The following awards are signed by Captain Troy P. Glendye, the Chief Director of Auxiliary. Commodore Wallace Smith, Jr. is being recognized for his performance of duty as Branch Chief, Senior Officer Course, where he comprehensively updated and redesigned this vital course's content and delivery system. Thank you, Commodore Smith. Mr. Jacob Thayer is being recognized for his performance of duty as Deputy Director, Student Programs, where he led a staff of 32 members in the build of the new Student Programs Directorate, which created numerous opportunities for student success in the auxiliary. Thank you, Mr. Thayer. Commodore Susan Thurlow is being recognized for her performance of duty as Branch Assistant, Senior Officer Course, where she devoted incredible enthusiasm to significant improvements to the course and its delivery system. Thank you, Commodore Thurlow. Mr. Christopher Ware is being recognized for his performance of duty as Branch Chief, Social Media Administration, where he oversaw diversity outreach and information management through auxiliary social media platforms. Thank you, Mr. Ware. Mr. Christopher Wilson is being recognized for his performance of duty as Director, Recreational Boating Safety Outreach, where he reorganized the Directorate to better meet the National Commodore's objectives set forth in the National Recreational Boating Safety Strategic Plan. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Lee Zimmerman is being recognized for his performance of duty as Director, Human Resources, where he reestablished partnerships which increased support to Coast Guard recruiting offices across the nation. Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. The next awards are Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medals. The Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal is awarded to auxiliarists who have contributed exceptional meritorious service to the Coast Guard or auxiliary. The following awards are all signed by Rear Admiral Wayne Arguin, Assistant Commandant for Prevention Policy. Commodore Douglas Crean. Citation to accompany the award, the Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal, Silver Star in lieu of a 6th. Commodore Cream is cited for meritorious service in the performance of duty as Assistant National Commodore, Chief Counsel from November 2020 to August 2022. Commodore Cream exercised astute foresight, outstanding leadership, and a mastery of auxiliary-related laws, regulations, and policies as he advised the National Commodore, Vice National Commodore, and the National Executive Committee. He drafted dozens of auxiliary-wide leadership messages for the National Commodore that provided vital guidance to all auxiliarists about activities and missions they could perform and how to safely do so during the COVID-19 pandemic. He facilitated and encouraged collaboration and cooperation between auxiliary district legal staff officers and the staff judge advocates nationwide, and dramatically improved coordination and communication between Coast Guard and auxiliary legal officers. Applying superb insight and attention to detail, he drafted a comprehensive memorandum of agreement between the auxiliary and the National Safe Boating Council that garnered both organizations' commitment to the promotion and advancement of the National Safe Boating Week and the International Boating and Water Safety Summit. Commodore Cream's dedication and devotion to duty are heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Thank you, Commodore Cream. Commodore Peter Jensen, please come forward. Citation to accompany the award of the Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal, Gold Star in lieu of a 2nd, to Commodore Peter K. Jensen. Commodore Jensen is cited for meritorious service and the performance of duty as Assistant National Commodore, Performance and Student Programs from November 2020 to August 2022. Exercising superb leadership and managerial skill, Commodore Jensen coordinated the major consolidation of Auxiliary University and Sea Scout programs into the new Student Programs Directorate. He insightfully focused auxiliary engagement on common needs of young members, facilitated development of well-trained contingents of future leaders, and significantly strengthened the relationship between Coast Guard Recruiting Command and the auxiliary. He supervised comprehensive revision of the Auxiliary University program of study that yielded updated classes and expanded engagement opportunities for technical school and graduate students. Applying keen insight and attention to detail, he established thorough analyzation protocols for data in AUX Data 2 that were used to produce high-quality monthly reports of relevant metrics and trends relied upon throughout the organization. A consummate advocate, he ensured that Coast Guard Academy selection boards were briefed on the strong potential and capabilities of Auxiliary University Program participants. Commodore Jensen's dedication and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and Coast Guard Auxiliary. Thank you, Commodore Jensen. Congratulations to all award recipients. Yes, thank you, Admiral Gautier, Admiral McPherson, Admiral Arguin, Captain Glendye, and Commodore Molesky for presenting these awards.
Yeah, it is. Very.
Representing NOAA, I'm pleased to introduce Auxiliarist Quentin Stubbs, the Office of Coastal Surveys Navigation Manager, Western Gulf Coast, and Auxiliarist Nick Alvarado, Florida Navigation Manager.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Quentin Stubbs. I am in Station Houston. I consider myself somewhat of a neophyte. I've been in the auxiliary about 2 years. I'm also the Regional Navigation Manager for NOAA, like my colleague, Nick Alvarado, who's actually the Regional Navigation Manager for this region. It's a pleasure being invited to speak today. 4 main points. As the Navigation Manager, we are responsible for helping with ATONs, DTONs, chart correction, emergency management, a wide variety of things. And over the past 2 years, I've seen how valuable the auxiliary is in maintaining communication, especially regarding ATONs and chart corrections. And so if you have any questions for us, please feel free to ask us. We are very open to using the auxiliary, the flotillas in various regions to help us understand, what chart corrections need to be made. The ATONs that have been displaced, obstructions, things that have been removed that need to be posted on chart corrections, those are all very vital in making sure the waterways are safe for navigation, as well as in post-event surveying, which is very important in order to reopen. For example, the Houston Ship Channel, it's vital that all resources are used, and that's when the auxiliary can really step in to help. We're really, how can I put this in a nice way, engaged in the raster paper chart to ENC transition. That's going to be a huge transition. We've had numerous pilots in our region ask about the testing that they're required to take if there are going to be any changes when the raster charts go away. So any feedback that you receive from pilots or recreational boaters, questions that they may have about the paper charts that are going away and how they can make that transition, please contact us, because we're, again, really engaged in that transition so that there's a smooth transition. And also, if there are any means of talking to the contractors, whoever plot the charts, again, using strategies to help that transition be as smooth as well, so there's an understanding of what resources they're using, making sure the charts that they're using are up to date. So again, any questions that you may have, any feedback that you receive, we are very open to that. Again, thank you to the directorate. Thank you for all the auxiliaries. There's so much, I guess, wisdom that I'm very anxious to, again, get to know as many of you as I can, and again, connect you with the regional navigation managers of your region. Thank you.
Hold on, I'm still not done. You get a book, there'll be a test tomorrow. It's,
Thank you very much.
Okay, take it easy. That's great.
I will now call James Cortez, Director of Vessel Examination and Partner Visits Directorate, and Paul Saba, his Deputy Director, to present the Vessel Examination and Program Visit Awards.
And we're also going to ask Commodore Robert Lauer to approach.
Good morning, everyone. The Vessel Examiner and Partner Visitation Directorate, in conjunction with the Auxiliary Association, are pleased to recognize the top 2 flotillas in vessel safety checks and program visitation for 2021. Sorry about that, a little technical.
Just might be easy.
So the efforts of these flotillas have enabled the auxiliary to continue to serve the recreational boating public, encouraging them to wear life jackets. They have the proper safety equipment necessary on their vessels and provide tens of thousands of brochures on safety to our business partners for consumption by the public. It's a distinct honor and privilege for me to announce the winners of this year's awards. First place in VE are the Upper Keys, and that's Flotilla 1308. Okay, the awards are going to be mailed out to the DCOs, and thank you. They had a number of 2,375 vessel safety checks, and that's an outstanding number. Really very much appreciate the hard work and dedication, and I believe their top producer, if I'm not mistaken, had something like 1,500 of those. Oh, sorry. Pat, Pat McManaman, why don't you come up and, oh, here you are, thank you. Hold on. It's usual suspects. We do have the boxes so that we could send them if, should you choose not to put them on the airplane. Oh, okay. Actually, you probably drove here. So, we've had the first place for program visits is still under construction, so you'll have to bear with me until we get that sorted out. But we do have the second place award, and that is Flotilla 10-13 in Wyckoff, New Jersey, with 2,248 vessel safety checks. And I think is Mark here? Oh, Mark's here. You're standing right there. Whoop. How did we miss you? With that, we have the second place in VE. See, that's why I have such a great staff to try to keep me oiled here this morning. I'm really out of it. Second. Sorry, stand by. All right, let's stand by here. Stand by one. Give me that back. Let's see what he got there. I think we passed out the wrong one. You know, it's embarrassing, but you think you got it all figured out, and you don't.
Totally my fault.
No, it isn't. I missed it. Second place program visitation, District 7, Flotilla 1214, Central Grand Strand, South Carolina. South Carolina. And, you know, there's a really stellar activity, 3,217 visits. You know, that means that Pat's got her people, they've got their stuff in the car, and every time they make a stop someplace, they make sure that their six-packs are full. And we really very much appreciate. Thank you very much. I'm sorry about the choppy presentation here, but Saturday morning. Don't close it.
All right, very good. Thank you. Thank you.
And before we move on, is Hayes Davis from the Uniform Distribution Center here? No, I did not see him. Just wanted to make sure before I skipped over. Okay. Well,
Congratulations to all the flotillas for a job well done, and congratulations to all the award recipients.
we're going to move into more awards. Sorry.
Very good.
Get ready, get ready.
Might as well just sit down here. All right. Captain Glendie, would you please come to the podium for some awards? Vice Admiral Gautier, Rear Admiral McPherson, Rear Admiral Arguin, and Commodore Molesky. Would you please come to the front
They
podium?
could do this all at once, but they like to make us go back and forth.
We have awards that recognize several distinguished auxiliarists. Will the following individuals please step forward and muster near the podium? Mr. Bruce Kelton, Commodore Greg Kester, Commodore Larry King, Commodore Robert Lauer, Mr. Richard Mahalchek, Commodore Frederick Saunders, and Mr. Roy Savoca. Mr. Bruce Kelton, please come forward. Citation to accompany the award of the Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal, Gold Star in lieu of a second. 2, Mr. Bruce J. Kelton, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Mr. Kelton is cited for meritorious service in the performance of duty as Deputy Chief Counsel from November 2020 to August 2022. Demonstrating superlative legal and programmatic expertise, Mr. Kelton skillfully assisted the Auxiliary Chief Counsel, mentored the Auxiliary Assistant Chief Counsels, and incisively counseled the Auxiliary 16 District Legal Parliamentary Staff officers. His close collaboration with these communities in response to complex and sensitive issues were critical to ensuring high quality and timely counsel was provided to district commodores and district directors of auxiliary. He assisted across a wide swath of concerns, including boating safety partner agreements, international affairs, personal and institutional liabilities, assignment to duty issues, and disciplinary proceedings. Leveraging his vast experience and superior legal acumen, Mr. Kelton provided exceptional guidance to auxiliary districts concerning negotiations with vendors for district training conferences. His counsel was instrumental to enabling those districts to appropriately cancel events without financial penalty when required to do so as consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic, thereby preserving valuable resources for all auxiliaries. Mr. Kelton's dedication and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary.
He deserves an award. Take it from me, the worst client a lawyer could have is another lawyer.
Citation and Company Award of the Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal, Gold Star in lieu of a third, to Commodore Gregory B. Kester, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Commodore Kester is cited for meritorious service in the performance of duty as Assistant National Commodore, FORSCOM from November 2020 to August 2022. Commodore Kester deftly supervised the Auxiliary's Public Affairs, Human Resources, and Training Directorates. Exercising keen programmatic insight and technical skill, he oversaw the meticulous planning and implementation of Moodle for online class instruction, adaptation of the auxiliary mid-level officer and upper-level officer courses into virtual Zoom versions, and conversion of the auxiliary leadership and management courses to a virtual platform. He spearheaded significant expansion of auxiliary health services, chaplain support, and culinary assistant activities despite considerable limitations imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. He astutely managed publication of 2 Navigation magazine editions and 6 Navigator Express issues, supervised careful restoration of the auxiliary applicant management system in the wake of a potential data breach, and coordinated design and delivery of innovative and attractive brochures specifically aimed to recruit parents and relatives of Training Center Cape May graduates. Commodore Kester's dedication and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Commodore Larry King, Citation and Company Award of the Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal, Gold Star in lieu of a fourth, to Commodore Larry L. King, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Commodore King is cited for meritorious service in the performance of duty as immediate past National Commodore from November 2020 to August 2022. He exercised astute foresight, outstanding leadership, and a mastery of auxiliary programs and processes, providing invaluable advice and counsel to the National Commodore and the National Executive Committee. An integral member of the Auxiliary Uniform and Appearance Work Group, he spearheaded execution of an extensive 15-month pilot program to test and assess wide-ranging policy changes, along with the design of the auxiliary version of the new Coast Guard utility and a brand new auxiliary work uniform. His unparalleled experience as an operational auxiliarist, also known as OXOP, and qualification examiner were invaluable to the OXOP work group's assessment of the program's impacts on the auxiliary training, membership, and recognition. His tireless work with the auxiliarist chaplain support and auxiliary scout program significantly increased their participants' counts and activity levels. A consummate shipmate, his management of the auxiliary's first ever virtual live national elections brought on by the COVID-19 challenges set the standard for successful conduct of thousands of subsequent virtual auxiliary elections. Commodore King's dedication and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Commodore Robert Lauer, Citation and Company Award of the Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal, Gold Star in lieu of a fourth, to Commodore Robert M. Lauer, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Commodore Lauer is cited for meritorious service in the performance's duty as Assistant National Commodore, Recreational Boating from November 2020 to November 2022. Demonstrating exceptional leadership, Commodore Lauer deftly supervised the auxiliary's vessel examination, public education, and recreational boating safety outreach directorates. With broad vision and focused drive, he guided implementation of innovative methods and promoted and improved boating safety through virtual education and outreach practices during the COVID-19 pandemic. He instituted practical procedures that ensured auxiliarist safety and that of the boating public in the course of in-person vessel safety checks, partner visits, and boating safety classes. Commodore Lauer insightfully launched initiatives like virtual vessel safety checks and new certification procedures for auxiliary paddlecraft operators and instructors. He oversaw publication of the RBS Job 1 magazine, a detailed and attractive periodical that provided auxiliarists with comprehensive information to share with the boating public. His steadfast commitment helped significantly reverse rising trends in recreational boating accidents and deaths. Commodore Lauer's dedication and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Mr. Richard Mahalchek. Citation and Company Award of the Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal to Mr. Richard F. Mahalchek, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Mr. Mahalchek is cited for meritorious service in the performance of his duty as Special Advisor to the National Commodore from November 2020 to August 2022. Applying superb teamwork and technical skill, Mr. Mahalchek worked closely with the Coast Guard Office of Investigations to deliver vital support to the Coast Guard Mariner Credentialing Fraud Task Force. He astutely assembled and led a team of auxiliaries with prior and current law enforcement investigative experience to support Coast Guard personnel in identifying and locating individuals who were evading the Mariner Fraud Task Force. He similarly worked with the Auxiliary Chief Counsel to assemble and manage a team of highly qualified auxiliary attorneys and thoroughly reviewed evidence, documents, and pleading for the task force. Spanning the entire United States and multiple continents, his diligent efforts were instrumental to successfully locating 100% of the missing mariners who held fraudulent credentials. Exercising astute foresight and mastery of auxiliary program management, Mr. Mahalchek also spearheaded development of the auxiliary's trailblazing administrative services group, comprised of 2 new document management and administrative investigations directorates. Mr. Mahalchek's dedication and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Commodore Frederick Saunders, citation to accompany the award of the Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal, Gold Star in lieu of a second, to Commodore Frederick G. Saunders, Jr., United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Commodore Saunders is cited for meritorious service in the performance of duty as Assistant National Commodore, Response and Prevention from August 2021 to August 2022. Commodore Saunders deftly supervised the Auxiliary's Prevention, Response, International Affairs, and Emergency Management and Disaster Response Directorates. Prior to the 2021 hurricane season, he ensured inclusion of vital geographic information data in the Auxiliary SITREP dashboard, which greatly enhanced the quality of disaster response information for operational commanders. He skillfully arranged auxiliary support of the Joint Artificial Intelligence Center's groundbreaking efforts to apply machine learning in search and rescue case execution, including a team of 60 auxiliaries that annotated more than 6,500 maritime video clips. Displaying unparalleled commitment to service, Commodore Saunders rapidly supervised activation of the Incident Management Auxiliary Coordination Cell and deftly coordinated the auxiliary response to Department of Homeland Security and Customs and Border Patrol Protection requests for assistance at the U.S. Southwest border, in which dozens of auxiliaries delivered over 5,000 hours of critical humanitarian support. Commodore Saunders' dedication and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Mr. Roy Savoca. Citation to accompany the award of the Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal to Mr. Roy Savoca, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Mr. Savoca is cited for meritorious service in the performance of duty while serving as Director Response from November 2020 to August 2022. Mr. Savoca deftly supervised 4 national divisions responsible for the auxiliary's expansive array of air, surface, and telecommunication programs, as well as associated training and qualification processes. Exercising keen programmatic insight and technical skill in support of the National Executive Committee and the Office of Auxiliary and Boating Safety, He established protocols that mitigated effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on operational programs while concurrently preserving the safety and security of auxiliary crews. He designed attractive and innovative air, surface, and telecommunication workshops that kept auxiliary operators certified and aware of COVID-19 risk mitigation practices. Displaying extraordinary interagency teamwork, he arranged auxiliary support of the Joint Artificial Intelligence Center's groundbreaking efforts to apply machine learning in search and rescue case execution. He marshaled a team of 60 auxiliaries that meticulously reviewed and annotated over 6,500 maritime video clips to facilitate automated system identification of service targets in a maritime environment. Mr. Savoca's dedication and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Commodore David Porter. Citation to accompany the award of the Auxiliary Meritorious Service Medal, Gold Star in lieu of a third, to Commodore David G. Porter, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Commodore Porter is cited for meritorious service in the performance of duty as Assistant National Commodore, Diversity, from November 2020 to August 2022. Demonstrating superb program insight and advocacy, Commodore Porter oversaw a comprehensive revision of the National Commodore's 3-Star Diversity Award program. He enthusiastically instructed key diversity and inclusion seminars at all auxiliary mid-level officer and upper-level officer courses. Working closely with the Office of Auxiliary and Boating Safety and other national directorates, he secured the addition of 4 FEMA courses to AUXDATA 2 that increased auxiliarist professional development opportunities in the practice of diversity and inclusion. He authored numerous articles about diversity and inclusion, which were featured in Navigator and the Navigator Express magazines. As a direct result of his profound commitment to the Coast Guard's transformation of its total workforce, the Auxiliary's diversity staff officer cadre significantly increased, and 385 NACO 3-Star Diversity Award applications were received for 2021, which enabled the Auxiliary to achieve its strategic goal of 40% participation 2 years ahead of schedule. Commodore Porter's dedication and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Thank you, Admiral Gautier, Admiral McPherson, Admiral Argan, and Commodore Molesky for presenting these awards. Congratulations to all awardees.
I am now pleased to introduce Mr. Vin Pica, President of the Coast Guard Auxiliary Association.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's okay.
Morning, shipmates.
Morning.
So I got the slide up, that's good. I'd like to make way briskly through this AUX-A presentation, so we'll have some time for questions at the end. First, I want to thank the 30-some-odd professionals that make up the Auxiliary Association AUX-A, as we have branded it. And also want to thank BSX, particularly Steve Minatola and Zig Wilson, who have been tremendous partners for us in many of the things we've done in saving your money and creating more opportunity for plowing that back into RBS programs. I am also delighted and proud to announce that the Harris Rosen Foundation, Rosen Center, has donated $45,000 to the Campaign for Zero program. That came in last night. This brings their total donations to date by the foundation to us to $90,000. Mr. Rosen believes, as I do, that public funding is never enough to meet the demands of public service, and he's willing to put his money where his mouth is. So, do I do the clicking somehow, or is that done for me?
Just say magic.
Magic. Okay. Better without the glasses at this distance. So I wanted to quickly take you through what we call the AUX-A Credo. So you know why we do what we do and why we act the way we act. Our first responsibility is to you. Thank you. And thus to the United States Coast Guard. We each have, all 30-some-odd professionals, have a fiduciary duty to safeguard the assets of AUX-A, which are donations, dues, and the merchandise that we have in our fulfillment center. And we try to do that at the highest standards of integrity, transparency, and process. We're continually trying to improve processes so that we have basically the opportunity to save costs, allowing us to plow more and more of our operating, our surplus back into the RBS programs. We want to service you promptly and efficiently, and always to project care, engagement, and support. So a sit rep on 2022, some of this went through in N-Train, I'm sorry, but I want to briefly mention it again. We ruggedized our IT system. I mean, there was significant threats, there have been significant threats, as we know, in the malware that is constantly around us. We want to make sure that we were not only safeguarding the assets, the physical assets, but all the logical assets, as it were. We converted the warehouse to a true fulfillment center, which that credo is a lot about. We also recently revamped our development team under Suzanne Heeman, U.S. Coast Guard Commander, retired. And I'm going to speak more about that. And we also ruggedized our financial system to reflect the better controls for a more complex environment that we operate in financially. We'll talk about that. Let's see, green button. So these are the two sections, one run by Suzanne, the second, the CFO role, run by David Barber. So the development team, the high-focused areas, to assist, obviously, with fundraising and grants. What that means is we're developing programs so that the local units can find grants in their neighborhood, and we can work with them, help them secure grants locally. We don't want to be the bottom of the funnel. We want to make that bottom of the funnel as wide as possible, and that leads to training of local units. The direct grants to units. Now, as we announced at N-Train, and there will be a detailed, much more detailed about this at the end of the presentation, you can now submit a grant directly to AUX-A, okay? And you do that through our website. It's very straightforward. And as I said, I'll speak more about that at the end of the presentation, but I wanted to put it up front because we're talking about the development team who will be coordinating all this with you, the NEXCOM, and the award. Okay, obviously, what development means, it's fancy speak for fundraising. So, directly supporting through social media and active engagement of high net worth individuals, corporations, et cetera, is assisting in the championing of our story and securing the donations that would help fund the RBS programs. And we're creating an opportunity through software, which is just about fully operational now, where you can donate virtually anything with an engine. We can sell a car, a plane, a boat, have that converted to money, put it in a bank account. People can donate stocks, cryptocurrencies, and we're looking very carefully right now at the ability to donate real estate, not to own the real estate, but to sell that, turn that into cash. Also, we're going to be strengthening our legacy abilities to support you. If you wanted, obviously, thank you for everything you do for us now, but there is an opportunity to do something when you can't do anything at all, and that's what the legacy program is going to be built around for those that want to take that step. So lastly, we want to educate the public. Again, here's where social media takes a tremendous step up. the public and other members about what AUX-A is. You'll see some things on Facebook and Twitter where it says, don't give till it hurts, give till it feels good. And then directly below that will be some AUX-A story, some auxiliary story that might get the public to thank us monetarily. Now, the budget system, as I said, Dave Barber is our Chief Financial Officer, and this was conceived of by Commodore King. It was directed by Commodore Maluski that we get it done, and as Commodore Formato is directed me to make sure that this is implemented fully, starting basically now. So I want to just take you quickly through this system. It's all software, it's web available. We'll be reviewing its results. This is budget versus actual. We'll be reviewing it monthly with the National Commodore and the Vice National Commodore, and then quarterly directly with the DNACOs, the ANACOs, and their directors, and I'll take you quickly through what it will be showing you. So it gives us the ability to know when we spent something, what we spent it on, and who spent it. So you'll have all this detail at your fingertips. What we want to get done here in the next few weeks so that we can get actually a budget in place in the start of the fiscal year 23 is Dave Barber and myself will reach out through the auxiliary financial organization to engage basically as soon as the fiscal year starts, to engage just prior to that with the new staff so that we can take you through the budget that you have in place, get your ideas and thoughts for what you want to propose. Then we'll take that back to the National Commodore and the Vice National Commodore, who are also simultaneously the chairman and vice chairman of AUX-A, and be prepared to take that for approval to the next COM before the end of November 2022. Now, to give you an order of magnitude, we have never gotten our budgets done in the same year, the same calendar year. So this is going to be a reach, but acting as fiduciaries, this is something where we really have to take this action. Okay, so let's get down to the member. What's in it for me? I'm sure you're familiar with the benefits of membership, the periodical that goes out from time to time. It's being revamped to be less of a magazine and more of a addressable email. That'll be going out very shortly, the latest. Again, we continue to reach out to corporations to get corporate deals for our members so you can use it in your day-to-day living. Red Roof recently came on, as you know, you've seen that. Now, these are announced through what we call a blue and white. It's shaped, it's framed by a blue and white logo. And as you can tell from this, this calendar here, we have significantly stepped up our ability to generate blue and whites to the field. So in 2019, we sent out 11. Next year was 22. The year that followed, 27. And we'll be putting together over 30 deals or other forms of information that will help you monetize your deal this year in 2023. Now, these blue and whites, your members are opening them, okay? The national rate for opening up an email is about 25%. So 1 in 4 emails that are sent get opened up. 4 in 10 blue and whites get opened up. So the members know this is something that could be good for them, and that's the point. Now, what happens once they open it is, do they click through, in quotes? At the national level, it's about 5%. At the blue and white level, it's more than double that, okay? It's almost 5%. So they're reading it, finding it of interest, and clicking through. Now, you may notice when you've read these things at the bottom, this is what I call the knock-on effect. At the bottom, it talks about Amazon Smile, right? I mean, if you're buying televisions, diapers, whatever, you might as well buy it through Amazon Smile, selecting the Coast Guard Auxiliary Association, which is its full legal name, as the beneficiary. This is an ability to donate without taking a dime out of your own pocket, right? Well, you see that graph as it's sloping up very, very powerfully. We've gotten we'll be, by the end of this year, we'll have over $25,000 will have come to us through the Amazon Smile program that otherwise we would not have seen a dime of. So this is really something to encourage your own use and your members' use, and it costs them nothing. We're rolling out information about how to do this with eBay and other similar buying programs, buying services. So as many places as people want to transact through the internet, we'll find a way for them to send a little bit our way and therefore your way. Now, the Unit Pride has been a big movement by active duty, and the Unit Pride ball cap has been an all Coast Guard solution. We buy it from the Coast Guard Exchange. You buy it from us, you sell it to your members. Now, how that works is the following. The member pays you $25 for that ball cap. You keep 5 of it because you bought it from me at 20 bucks. I bought it from Coast Guard Exchange at 15, so I get $5. Those $5 end up going back to you anyway through the RBS programs. And your member gets a receipt for a $10 charitable deduction because clearly the hat's worth 15 bucks. They paid $25 for it. So they deserve a piece of paper that tells them that they've done that. This is an all Coast Guard solution from start to finish. Now, it is not true that we now offer polo shirts, Unit Pride polo shirts, because Tom Mullally's been bugging me for 2 years. It just feels that way. It just takes time. But now this is a officially sanctioned polo shirt, the collar of the shirt. You can use it for leisure wear, obviously, but it also operates very well underneath your ODU blouse or any other uniform that you're looking for that type of wear. We're just mentioning a couple of things. Now, we also have, and Randy Patton's sitting over there. There he is. Randy and his team put together these frocking kits for us. Basically, they're PDFs, and you pull them up through the web warehouse. You can order your gear, press the button, and you're on your way. For the DCOs and the DCOS is stepping up, give Stan a call. I'm sure Stan will want to offer you a deal. So this is all available online. Mentioning just in closing a couple of our corporate deals. Obviously, we have a great partnership with Boat US. Discounted deals there. Provengo, if you're buying Yeti stuff, buy it through Provengo and get the discount. Navy Federal, we ran a promotion with them where they opened up accounts. You got a $25 credit in the account that you opened up, and AUXA got a $25 donation from Navy Federal, which, by the way, is you're operating the same standards that an active duty member would act at with respect to Navy Federal. They sent us almost $5,000 in $25 increments because of people signing up for the program. Hewlett-Packard, you can buy from Hewlett-Packard at their employee discount rates, just as if you worked at Hewlett-Packard, so you know that's the best deal they offer their own people. Office Depot's made a big push, and they're offering us up to 80% off now on a number of their products. And of course, there's Avis and Budget for renting cars at significant discounts. So we're going to continue to try to build these corporate deals so it's away from just something that you can wear on the job, as it were, but also something that you can benefit from in your personal lives. Now, I said earlier that we're going to talk about the direct grant program. We started to call it the surplus. Now, what is that? In 501c3 land, profits are called surpluses because you're a nonprofit. You can't call it profit. So a surplus is your profit. Okay. Now, the last few years, we haven't spent a lot of money. Okay, so we had a lot of surplus. So we called that surplus. And these gentlemen up here, and part of the board of AUXA, said, let's find a way to give that back to the system. Let's run at a deficit, which we have never done, so that we can basically turbocharge retention and recruitment. And that was approved at N-Train. You can now access it through, and there's as it says at the bottom, there's a couple of L2s to follow imminently. To formally announce it, but we also have about a half a dozen submissions already that came in for the next comms review, but we haven't processed them yet because we wanted to do that on the back of the official announcement. But you can make a direct request now, a direct grant from AUXA to your unit for programs that will support retention and recruitment. Not to buy a new boat, not to buy a new building, whatever, not to buy uniforms, but retention and recruitment. So what will OXA do with that? You know, basically we'll administer the grant, we'll track it with you. We will also measure it for effectiveness. So if you put together a program that you think is going to drive recruitment and it doesn't, okay, well, you know, we took our chances, we went out on the edge of the diving board, we dove off together, but it didn't work. What can we do to make that program better so the next time it does work? You know, we're looking at this not just as a grant, but also as a laboratory. These will be reported, submitted rather to NEXCOM monthly for their approval. Once we have the approval, we'll fund it and get going. And we will monitor it, as I said, both for compliance, so you're going to do what you said you're going to do with the money, and if its effectiveness. And by the way, again, I want to say, you know, no one gets a rap on the knuckles because it wasn't effective. You're putting together a program that got approved, so it made logical sense to logical people, but in the real world, it just didn't work. So what can we learn from that so we can do it better the next time? So in closing, I just want to say we're not done yet by far. As I said at the beginning, we want to operate and find ways to save money in every way possible so we create more surplus. And all that gets rolled back into RBS. The budget system will be as professional as any you'd see in a modern American corporation. You'll have access to all that information, what was spent, when it was spent, and by who. So the businesses that you're running will look more and more professional, more and more like the business that we want you to operate it like. And obviously, driven by Commodore Molesky and Formato's encouragement and the full support of NEXCOM, you can be sure of one thing: it's a new day at OXA, and the best is yet to come. So let me open it up for questions or comments. Yes, good question. I didn't put it in the presentation. I wanted to see if it would come up, and it did. One of the ways we found to save money was to break apart the dual membership that has been in place only since 2006. OXA was formed in 1957. Somebody saw a law in Washington, D.C., where OXA is incorporated, that said they need to be members of both organizations in order for OXA to operate. That, years later, turned out not to be correct. So by decoupling that, I don't have to insure 22,000 people because 500 people show up here. That's all there is. That $40,000 additional expense goes straight to the bottom line, straight into our surplus, and then rolled back into RBS. Okay? We still have things to do, by the way. It hasn't been affected yet. There has to be a motion by the OXA board. You know, there's paperwork, but we have we have a float plane here, and we are following it right to the conclusion. Thank you for asking that. Thank you.
So while we're getting ready for the next set of awards, so the next set will be the diversity awards, so it'll be the district commodores coming over. The slide will pop up momentarily for the order. I just have a couple of announcements. And this is regarding the banquet this evening. So for seating, the district commodores have already gotten a packet of tickets that they could give it out. Each district gets one table. And once again, thank you for those who have given me the few that they have left over, and if anyone else does, please drop those off because someone will be seated with you. So I want to make sure you understand we're going to be having other reserved tables with people having to cancel and flight, from illness or flight delays or whatever. It's taken us a while to get the seating arrangement taken care of. But I want to make sure that for reserved seating, NEXCOM will have special assigned seats. Our speakers will have special assigned seats. Our flags, of course, the PNACOs, and our high-level representative from our international groups will have reserved seating. Please, if you're in this room, before you leave for lunch at some point in time, stop at the end of the table. We have those tickets there. So you can pick them up here, and that way we don't have to try and run around and find you. You know, a good percentage of you are already in this room. So we would be most appreciative if you would do that.
All right, I will now call Commodore David Porter, ANACO for Diversity, and Tracy Schultz, his deputy, ANACO, to present the NACO 3-Star Diversity Awards.
Admirals, Commodores, Captain, and again, my Coast Guard family. Welcome again to NACON. Thank you for this opportunity to present the awards for the NACO 3-Star Award, recognizing our practices in diversity. This year, for 2021, we have the assistance of my Deputy ANACO, Tracy Schultz, our Branch Chief for Social Media, Christopher Ware, and our Division Chief for Atlantic East, Bridget Riley. The award is presented to divisions and flotillas. It recognizes and values members and their achievements in the completing various tasks relevant to diversity and inclusion, as noted in a national application. Okay, is there a clicker? Oh, next slide, please. Yep.
Oh, the clicker. Proverbial clicker.
Thank you, Terry. All righty. And here we are. So, thank you for your patience. We are confident that diversity and inclusion, which this award recognizes and promotes, will positively impact our organization, recruitment, retention, and re-engagement practices. NACO 3-Star Award for Excellence in Diversity and Inclusion for the year of 2021 statistics. Again, this year, we received over 300 units that participated, representing 32% that applied for and received this award. Every district received at least one award this year. 23% of applying divisions submitted using the new collaborative process, and 96% of units who received the award the prior year felt that a benefit to the diversity and inclusion application process was achieved. In first place for their participation is District 7. And I'm sorry, where are the, oh, we have the certificates, great. District 7 is receiving 66 awards representing 60% of eligible units in their district. Thank you very much, Commodore, for yours and your group's participation. Next, we have 11th Southern, with 34 awards representing 57% of eligible units, demonstrating the largest increase in both the number of units and percentage of units participating in the NACO 3-Star Award. Thank you very much, sir. Next, we have 9th Eastern, with 15 awards representing 40.5% of eligible units achieving the NACO 3-Star Award. Thank you very much, Commodore. Next, my home district, and the commute is killing me, seeing how I'm a resident of Florida. District 1st Southern with 37 awards representing 38% of eligible units. Thank you very much, Commodore Stone. From District 17, 37 awards representing 38% of eligible units. Oh, I am sorry. 5 awards representing 38% of eligible units in District 17. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Next, we have 9 Central, with 16 awards representing 35% of eligible units. Thank you very much, Commodore. '11 Northern, and as my ample deputy has mentioned, his home district. 11 Northern receiving 15 awards representing 31% of eligible units. Thank you very much, sir. From 5th Southern, 25 awards representing 27% of eligible units. Thank you very much, Commodore. From my neighbors to the north, 1st Northern. Yes. Yellow. 15 awards representing 27% of eligible units. Thank you very much, sir. From District 14, 4 awards representing 27% of eligible units. Commodore, thank you very much for your team's participation. From 5th Northern, 17 awards representing 23% of eligible units. Commodore, thank you very much. From 9 Western, 10 awards representing 18.5% of eligible units. From 8 Eastern, 12 awards representing 17.5% of eligible units. Thank you very much, Commodore. Congratulations. From 8 Coastal, 12 awards representing 17% of eligible units. Thank you very much, Commodore. From District 13, 8 awards representing 16% of eligible units. Thank you very much, sir. From 8 Western Rivers, 10 awards representing 15% of eligible units. Thank you very much, sir. Again, I wish to thank everyone for their participation. We truly believe that honoring and respecting and delving into the use of diversity and inclusion to support your units will further enhance not only our recruitment efforts, but our retention efforts. And I welcome you all to take that message back to your units so that we have greater participation next year. And we look forward to awarding you all. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, would Commodore Molesky and, let me hear it, would National Commodore, Commodore Molesky, and Vice National Commodore Gus Fermato, you're not going to hear that much longer, those comments. Please come to the front of the podium. And we have some certificates of appreciation from Commodore Molesky.
I'm going to read these certificates of appreciation. First one, Department of Homeland Security, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary Certificate of Appreciation presented to Pamela A. Herring for volunteering your time and expertise to train conference staff on the registration desk from 13 August 2022 to to 17 August 2022. Ms. Herring is not with us today, but we are reading this to put it on the record, obviously. Next would be for Peter V. Positano, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary Certificate of Appreciation, presented to Peter V. Positano for generously providing temperature-controlled storage for NACON awards and supplies from January 2020 to August 2022. Signed, National Commodore Alex Malewski.
And would the following people please come forward to the podium, or in front of the podium? Joseph Erdman, Kevin Redden, Mark Hartigan, and Pat McMiniman.
Department of Homeland Security, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary Certificate of Appreciation, presented to Mark Hartigan for not only volunteering your photography skills, but also paying your own expenses to help us out at NACON from 19 August 2022 to 21 August 2022. Signed, National Commodore Alex Malewski. I hold that up to you to take a picture of us. How do you do that? It's hard. Department of Homeland Security, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary, Certificate of Appreciation, presented to Commodore Pat McMiniman for you and your District 7 members' ongoing support of NACON by providing the color guard, singer, and transportation from 15 August 2022 to 21 August 2022. Signed, National Commodore Alex Malewski. Department of Homeland Security, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary Certificate of Appreciation, presented to Kevin Redden for volunteering your photography skills at NACON when our staff photographer became ill and could not attend, from 19 August 2022 to 21 August 2022. Signed, National Commodore Alex Malewski. United States Department of Homeland Security, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary Certificate of Appreciation, presented to Joseph Erdman for providing safe and efficient transportation to and from the airport during NACON 2022. Signed, National Commodore Alex Malewski. And the following are also being recognized for being part of that transportation team: Jack Nevy III and Anthony Wong.
NACO says, Terry, do you have any announcements? And then I say, yes, I have an announcement from
Did you ever feel that you weren't needed?
from Vin Pica. Originally, there was a discussion with the ANACOs and directors on the budget, and his announcement is that the 11:30 budget session scheduled for today has been canceled in favor of the budget meetings that Vin talked about earlier in his talk. And other than that, that's all I have for now.
So we're going to take a break?
That sounds good.
All right, so we're going to take a break. It is roughly 9:40. So we'll be back at 10 o'clock? Sounds good?
Good. Even if it's raining, it'll be warm.
Of course, that air conditioning takes.
Oh, I know.
This would be a clammy, gooey place.
I know, that's very true. They could just drop it one degree, I'd say.
Just a smidge, please. I'm sorry? Yes. How this is.
But right now, but to give everybody fit.
Are you really? So I was blown away. I wasn't even aware of it until I met a couple folks and learned how long has that book been around? Like, it must be gaining momentum. Yeah. Yeah, me too. Absolutely. No, and I tell everybody about it. It's fascinating. And they're both enthusiastic. So not only is it contributing to the auxiliary, but it's a recruiting opportunity for us as well. That's great, absolutely. Have you thought about the master plan? So, green science and technical, there's a couple of them around the country. We have one in Maine, I've visited one in New Jersey. And as you, I think if you're familiar with that program, it's sort of a JROTC program, although we now have JROTC programs too. Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. No. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a competition. I think you're right. It's a collaboration. Because many of those students will not. They will do this, and a small percentage will, and they'll either enlist or go to the academy or OCS. A whole bunch of them aren't. But I think just their experience in the future, they'll be like, well, I'm familiar with this organization. No, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's great. I love it. Okay. Different guy.
full of.
I know, no. I just want to talk, catch before you left. Do you know where what the property is? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. The tiny ass. So.
Yeah. They'll have all our stuff there. Well, you don't get.
I don't get
boards, but you know, thank you. He said my membership directly goes virtual.
Oh yeah. I was sworn in over a phone.
Yeah. Well, I didn't set New York. I think they'll pretend.
Okay. All right.
You have the DLC.
Okay. And then Dineco's? Oh, okay, after we have the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not fair that they find out that way. I want to find out from us.
All right. Sounds good.
That's getting done. I'm trying, my biggest fear is forgetting to do something.
I know. I already have a list for the Dinecos and things that he'll send us. Yeah, like and all that kind of stuff. And then set up a meeting with Kevin Redden, I guess, about staffing worksheets and all that.
But I will, the little things like that.
Perfect. Uh-oh.
One talk on that.
So, but anyway. Okay. Yes. Except that we did, here last year, we really appreciate the original attack.
With the next meeting,
It's just not
but
being
beyond
right.
beyond that, oh my God.
Yes.
Two words, God.
Right. Oh, I didn't even see that. Is that clear by part of that? Yeah, okay. I never even saw that, okay. Okay, let's see. So 1 to 2 and then 3 o'clock, yeah. There's that stop here.
No, I don't want to go there.
Yeah. If we can do that.
Yeah, we're going to. Let's go find,
let's do that.
let's go find our other three positions.
Okay. That would just simply find you responsible for this one.
No, that would be all my fault.
Oh.
Oh, no.
just in case if you want to start it for the
Yeah,
forum,
that'd be great.
those are the questions that we ask. What is this? This is at 1 and 2, 13 and 14.
Okay.
It's pretty much.
Where's that going to be?
Shoot.
That's all right.
But anyways, that's just, it's going to be medical.
So I was just talking to Fagan.
Yeah. See how it works, because they had assigned seats for the international. Yeah, I know somebody's. She was all very quiet. When she's out, so like talking to herself. I would love that, genuinely.
It's just crazy, you know, half the people aren't here, half the people are late, so it's all discombobulated. Yeah, it's
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please take your seats?
Yeah, but it's like, yesterday was crazy. Well, half the people were here, and then they were showing up, so then we were squeezing in, so everything was out of sequence. Then there was, you know, I just saw Emma Fagan, and she says it's lucky we got in last night. That's the thing, if you're not here before noon, it's a crapshoot. All right, so you ready to go?
I arranged for that.
Oh, they may reconvene. Let's see. Yep, testify.
Good morning. Still. It's like, isn't it afternoon yet? No, it's you know, I always said as I was coming up the ranks, when I'm in charge, we're going to start at noon. It didn't happen. It was like, you know, it's just time is too precious. We have too much to do, and you know, you got to start early. I reconvened the meeting of the National Board and called for a visual confirmation of a quorum. I attest for NEXCOM and the president of NAC. Bob here?
There he is.
I'm attesting to it, so I have to double check. There he is. All right. And I'm going to ask the DNACOs to attest for the areas. Commodore Barth.
All present.
Commodore Mullally.
All present.
Commodore Kirkwood.
All present.
And now,
Oh, thank you. And me. Not a Commodore. Okay, so before I get started with introductions, we're back to the banquet dinner tonight. So you know, I mean, we're getting cancellations right and left. People are ill. A group of auxiliaries, there's a space lunch tonight, and they work that, so they're going to be on patrol. So we have a lot of different reasons. So it's a jumble. If you don't get your ticket numbers here, I'm going to email everybody those that have assigned tables. I'm going to email that to you. So make sure you check your emails for us, and I'll get that done. It's obviously going to be a bit later today before I can get to that, but hopefully that will help. Well, no matter what, there's going to be a seat for you. We may play musical chairs, but it'll all be good. All righty, now that that's out of the way, it is now my true honor to introduce Vice Admiral Peter W. Gautier. Admiral Gautier assumed the duties of Coast Guard Deputy Commandant for Operations in June 2022. In this capacity, he is responsible for the development of operational strategy, policy, guidance, and resources that address national priorities. This oversight of Coast Guard missions, programs, and services includes intelligence, international affairs, cyber, the maritime transportation system, commercial regulations and inspections, search and rescue, maritime security, law enforcement, defense operations, environmental response, contingency planning, and the operational capabilities of cutter, boat, aviation, shore, and deployable specialized forces.
Busy?
Am I done?
Hey, Terry, thanks for not starting the clock on me yet.
Shall I finish?
Thank you.
Would you like me to continue?
I am fine with my intro. Thank
Okay,
you. Thank
thank
you
you.
very much. I appreciate that. Wow. Well, so first impressions matter. And when we arrived here at the hotel, Master Chief Logan, our DCO Command Master Chief, Lieutenant Tobler, our DCO aide, the first impression was, what great energy we have now being back in person for the first time in 3 years. And, you know, through the wonderful dinner last night, a little bit of that dancing craziness, and here this morning, even in this cavernous room that we're in here today, that energy continues. And for me personally, it is an absolute great joy to be amongst you in fellowship in person after the trials and tribulations of the past 2.5 years. That alone, I think, is objective met for NACON. But yet more to follow. I know it's been a really busy week for you all. And Commodore Molesky and Vice Commodore Formato for a little while longer. Thank you very much for the opportunity and the pleasure for being here. And Terry for running a really disciplined process. I know I got until minute 27 here. So, you know, to that effect, let's all remember 2.5 years ago, February. I remember having conversations as the District 11 commander with Mary, with Wally, with Chris, about how do we unwind this thing, given this very scary disease, this deadly disease that was on the horizon and rippling across the United States of America, and how deeply anxious we were that now that we weren't going to be able to meet in person, now that we weren't going to be able to do all the missions that the great Coast Guard Auxiliary does every day, now that we're going to have to find a way to do things remotely, Zoom, Teams, that we were going to lose people. We were already on a trajectory that wasn't great in terms of losing people in the Coast Guard Auxiliary at the time. And I, for one, remember and having the conversations with you all about whether we were going to survive as an organization. And wow, here we are, stronger than ever. The Coast Guard Auxiliary, like you always do, with great fidelity and great faith, found a way to emerge here stronger than ever. And as a guy who's made his career and made rank as a crisis leader in the Coast Guard, I submit to you all, you here, every one of you are crisis leaders. So a round of applause to you all for leading us through this. Because we weren't going to have the opportunity to do those sorts of things that auxiliarists survive and thrive and come to us to do. And that's fellowship with a great group of individuals in person, and that's connection to a mission that saves lives. But you have all done that, and you've done that brilliantly. You found a way. And now that we're in the position of actually bringing more auxiliarists on board, right? And I would submit maybe retaining the right auxiliarists, the real committed auxiliarists, the ones who are directly connected to what we need to do, has given us emergence here into this year in a really strong way. And so what an eventful year it's really been. And just listening to the awards here, I think is a testament to the direct value proposition of the Coast Guard Auxiliary to what we do here every day as Coasties in connecting to directly to missions. And that's 70 auxiliarist physicians, dentists, nurses, who have supported us through this crisis in Coast Guard clinics. Something that we have really, like the rest of America, needed, and that's direct care to our frontline operational and mission support individuals, both on the physical care side and on the mental health care side as well. It's also the real blossoming of our chaplain program, and just talking to Chaplain Mode yesterday and a little bit more just directly today. It has been absolutely remarkable that we had 6 AUX chaplains in 2017. And now we have almost 100. And I submit to you that we're going to cross that 100 mark here pretty darn soon, right, Chaplain? Chaplain of the Coast Guard Mode, big thumbs up to you in the Coast Guard Auxiliary. As the Coast Guard has grown deeply into meeting the challenges of cyber, in protecting our own networks within the DODN, in protecting the maritime transportation system from cyber intrusions, and from operating in cyberspace, it's been really thrilling to see the emergence of AUX Cyber with, I think, a little over 100 folks who applied, and now 40 auxiliarists in the onboarding process as we build this all Coast Guard capability within cyber in order to counter the challenges of today and tomorrow. Supporting our cyber protection teams, which as of just a few weeks ago, we now have 2 complete, authorized, recognized by U.S. Cyber Command cyber protection teams, instructing at the academy in cyber and all the other things that this brand new emergent cyber team does for us. We're moving into artificial intelligence. We heard that in some of the awards. So with the great promise that artificial intelligence provides the United States Coast Guard in order to advance ourselves in the technologies that are present and emerging, we need to teach the machines how to do the things that we need to have done. It's real a misnomer when you hear machine learning that they teach themselves. But in this world where we need to use sensors more, space-based aircraft, UAS, ground-based sensors more, totally integrated to form a common operational view to give the tactical frontline operating information they need to better target our capital assets, cutters, patrol boats, aircraft, people. These machines do not know what a 20-foot cuddy cabin looked like. These machines do not know what a person in the water who needs rescuing looks like. They don't know what a panga in the Eastern Pacific carrying a load of dope looks like. And thanks to the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, we are teaching those machines on what that looks like, so in an automated fashion, they can then increase the sorts of things that take lots of people hours and lots of eyeballs that the Coast Guard just doesn't have on any given day in order to get better at targeting in interdiction. So many thanks for that. And of course, then there's the southwest border. Who would have thought a year ago that we would have auxiliarists operating on the land border in this mass migration situation that we face on land and the migration challenges that Brendan talked about on water? So we are up to wave 12 of 13 waves that are going to last us through the end of this month, working in Eagle Pass. Those folks are just doing tremendous work for us. They are helping in the warehousing side of things, and they're bringing great humanity in the in-processing of individuals who are desperate to make it to the United States of America by processing their personal effects, cataloging all of those so those can be returned once they move through the CBP process. For every auxiliarist that we have doing this mission, that frees up one Border Patrol agent in order to go out on the front line and do the critical mission that the Border Patrol does every single day on the land border. And in talking to my counterpart for CBP operations, Chief Manny Padilla, he expressed deep gratitude for the professionalism, the humanity, and the capacity and capability the Coast Guard Auxiliary provides that particular mission. And thanks to Rob Kumpf, who's leading this charge, and we're asking for more, to have more waves of Coast Guard auxiliary volunteers who can bring this mission through the end of November. Another 90 days asked for by CBP. That's you know, I think that's a testament to the great work that the team here is doing in processing, helping to process migrants. That's, and many other examples that you've heard, I think, from our active duty speakers here. Our District 7 Commander, our Assistant Commandant for Prevention Policy spoke yesterday. And on top of the enduring missions of boating safety, of AUX communications and the other things that you all do for us every single day. But there's a price for success. And as volunteers, you know what that price is, right? When you do great things, we count on you to do more great things. You're going to hear from the Commandant. There's a small panel here this afternoon, but when she gets to touch all of you here at the banquet tonight, she's going to talk about her new Commandant's intent. And there are three major elements of that Commandant's intent that talk about people, that talk about technology as enablers, and then talk about missions, getting the job done. I, of course, as the Deputy Commandant of Operations, focus on the mission piece, advancing our mission excellence. The United States Coast Guard is here, authorized and appropriated and created to do one thing, and that's deliver to the American people on the sorts of things that they count on us to do every single day in terms of maritime safety, security, stewardship, and helping with governance over the maritime domain. So in that thought, as a 30-year veteran here, 35-year veteran here of the United States Coast Guard, and in talking to my counterparts who've been around a long time, it really is not hyperbole to say that the demand for Coast Guard services has never been greater. And it's not just here domestically. The fact that you have delegations from across international delegations from the Philippines and elsewhere, I think is a testament to the value that our global partners see with the United States Coast Guard. We have broken through as an organization where for decades we knew we added value, but other people in power did not yet recognize that. And our efforts to demonstrate our value proposition have been incredibly successful. They've been successful in Congress, and they've been successful at the White House through the National Security Council in the halls that matter in terms of power, in terms of budget and support. We are now in the position of having to say, we can't do everything that you want. We are being pulled in a lot of different directions, and we're building. We're halfway through this major recapitalization of our cutters and our aircraft. We're advancing in our ISR and C4 ISR capability. It's all true. We've got people shortages, both on the active duty and the reserve side in order to meet that mission. But the great thing here is that we are wanted and desired in the far reaches of planet Earth. We have a cutter that's going to be operating in the Western Pacific and the Indian Ocean here in the upcoming months. We have the Coast Guard cutter Healy that's operating in the high latitudes this summer. We've got 2 brand new FRCs that have been delivered, that are being delivered to the Patrol Forces Southwest Asia there, working together with the 5th Fleet in order to provide that security on that really tactical edge where we encounter Iranian hostility every single day. And over, and then of course they're all the enduring domestic missions. So the message I want to leave you with is we need more. More and more, it does not matter when missions begin with people and they end with people, where those people are coming from. Whether they're active duty, reservists, civilians, or auxiliarists, more and more that is not mattering. What matters is we have the people who are equipped and proficient in order to deliver the sorts of services that we need. So we ask, and I know that there are ongoing efforts to match those unique gaps that we are experiencing here on the active duty ranks, and we're continuing to do that. We need more fills and more to those critical locations from you all than we've ever needed before. And since you found a way to get us through this challenging time, we know you're going to find a way to get us moving target into the future. So lastly, let me express my deep gratitude to you all. 40 years ago, I was adopted by Auxiliary Flotilla 1014 out of Oakland, New Jersey, a guy who had nothing but potential, who was interested in the sea and its lore and who wanted to serve, to attend the AIM program. And Lieutenant Commander Bob Swanson picked me out and read my application, brought me in, met the flotilla members, went through a really challenging interview process, and got to the AIM program. I was kind of on the fence between Annapolis, Kings Point, and the Coast Guard Academy, but I was convinced through that Coast Guard was going to be for me. I would not be here today if it wasn't for the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. So for that, I am really grateful. It's been a great ride ever since. Thank you, and Semper Paratus.
Admiral, we have a
Commander Winans, would you please come to the podium for some awards, and Vice Admiral Gautier, Rear Admiral McPherson, Rear Admiral Arguin, Captain Glendye, and Commodore Maluski. Would you please come to the front of your podium? And can I have Commodores from District 7, 9 East, and 11 Northern to the side, please?
We will now recognize the 2020 and 2021 winners of the Commodore Daniel Maxim Award for Excellence in Education. The Maxim Award recognizes the most outstanding auxiliary instructor who provided superior education by effectively engaging and inspiring students, as well as serving as a role model for other instructors. The 2020 Maxim Award winner is Mr. Kano Kasale, Jr. Commodore Pat McMinivan, would you please come forward to accept his award? The Auxiliary Commendation Medal to Mr. Buddy Kasale, Jr. The United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Mr. Kasale is cited for outstanding achievement while serving as auxiliary instructor for Flotilla 10 of the 7th District from January 2020 to December 2020. Drawing on expansive instructor and organizational skills, he significantly increased the reach and effectiveness of public education classes and member training courses. Demonstrating a commitment to continuous improvement, Mr. Kasale obtained the skills to prepare and present virtual classes and mentored numerous flotilla instructors. He developed a new course, Introduction to Basic Navigation, designed for high school math students to teach them navigation techniques used in boating, while using algebra skills to calculate speed, time, distance, and compass corrections. Mr. Kasale recognized that the key to reducing boating fatalities and accidents is a vigorous effort to educate the boating public. He dedicated more than 75 hours toward education in 2020, in addition to more than 500 hours to various auxiliary missions. Such exceptional performance set the standard for all auxiliary instructors to emulate, and deservedly earned Mr. Kasale distinct recognition as winner of the 2021 Commodore Daniel Maxim Award for Excellence in Education. Mr. Kasale's dedication, judgment, and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Signed, Captain Troy P. Glendye, Chief, Office of Auxiliary and Boating Safety. It looks like there was a slight edit there. It's actually 2020, and I misspoke and said 2021. The next award, the winner of the 2021 Maxim Award, is Mr. George Peak. Commodore Pat McMinivan will be accepting this award as well. Citation to Company of the Award of the Auxiliary Commendation Medal, Gold Star in lieu of a third, to Mr. George S. Peak, United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Mr. Peak is cited for outstanding achievement while serving as Auxiliary Instructor Flotilla 6 of the 7th District from January 2021 to December 2021. With exceptional instructor and organizational skills, he significantly increased the reach and effectiveness of public education classes and member training courses. Demonstrating an unwavering commitment to continuous improvement while adapting to COVID-19 restrictions for classroom presentations, Mr. Peak became adeptly knowledgeable in how to present effective virtual classes and mentored numerous flotilla members in a variety of missions. His laser focus on personal safety and marine protection resulted in the development of critical training curricula and new presentation material that addressed risk management. Recognizing that the key to reducing boating fatalities and accidents requires a vigorous effort to educate the boating public, he dedicated more than 40 hours in 2021 toward public education and more than 50 hours to training other auxiliarists. Such exceptional performance set the standard for all auxiliary instructors to emulate, and deservedly earned Mr. Peak distinct recognition as the winner of the 2021 Commodore Daniel Maxim Award for Excellence in Education. Mr. Peak's dedication, judgment, and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard and United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Signed, Captain Troy P. Glendyke, Chief, Auxiliary and Boating Safety. Thank you, Commodore McMinivan. I will now turn it over to Mr. Fuller for some additional awards.
Good morning, all. This is the first time we have presented the Maxim Award because obviously this is the first time we've been together in 3 years. And as some of you may know and some of you don't, the Maxim Award is decided based on the packages that are sent in nominating these deserving instructors. And the award was designed to inspire members to reach out and reach beyond the comfortable and into excellence. And we have our award winners for the first 3 years now have been presented. I'm very grateful that they have now received their awards. But we also have the 2 area winners from 2021 that we want to recognize now. So first off is from Atlantic West, and that would be, I'm sorry, let's see, who's right now? Yeah. Okay. From Pacific area, excuse me, is Karen Sue, also known as Kit Galvin, from 11 North. And she receives the Pacific area winner of the Maxim Award for 2021. So. And the next award is for 9 East. And that is the Atlantic West winner is Paul Markovic. Thank you to all. Thank you. And that concludes the Maxim Award for 2021.
Next, I'm pleased to introduce Commander Mike Smith from Coast Guard Fest. He made a special effort, as many have done, to attend the meeting. So.
He always dresses down.
Well, I'm here representing the Grand Haven Coast Guard Festival and apparently polo. We had an interesting year this year. We were celebrating the men and women who keep the lakes great. That was a design by the district commander, and it worked perfectly because the Canadians asked us if we could celebrate their 60th anniversary of being a Coast Guard at the same time. And they would send a delegation and a ship. So the first event is the Heroes and Legends Dinner, Thursday. And the delegation came from Canada, and the ship from Canada arrived, and we had a glorious dinner, a 3-foot cake. We sang. By Friday morning, 5 of the delegation were on a plane back to Canada with COVID symptoms. The ship left too. So, in my house, I had 24 people staying overnight because we're all related. And my wife on Friday morning, who was at the dinner on Thursday, couldn't speak and was ill. So, I tried to lighten the moment and asked her how many Canadians she kissed at the dinner the night before, but only I thought that was funny. So, it was a long week. Anyway, we are thrilled that the Commodore could join us this year, and he is a great representative for you. He's smart, he's funny, he's very engaging, and he does you proud. And for that, we want to say a special thank you to you and present, you might have seen this already, celebrating the men and women who keep the lakes great. And here's the plaque, and you can put it on the back or the front. It says it's presented to you, a guardian of the Great Lakes, celebrating at the Grand Haven Coast Guard Festival, Coast Guard City, USA, August 2022. So that's for you as well.
Thank you so much.
And should you have enough room left, this was the logo for this year, celebrating the Canadians and the United States Coast Guard as well.
Carry on. Thank you so much, Mike.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Now, there's one more thing. So we get into a sort of a tight spot with the guests, the official guest list for the festival. So I'm going to ask the new Commodore, before we establish the list, to pick 5 individuals representing the auxiliary.
Oh, wow.
From all over, however you see fit. We've already included the auxiliaries to the year before, but I will let the Commodore decide.
It's going to be Gus. I'm now the Commodore LD.
Well, there you go. So it's going to be your fault if you don't get invited. See this guy.
Bourbon. I like bourbon.
Everybody likes bourbon. So if you would do that for us, then we would very much appreciate that. And okay, we will send that to you.
It was a tremendous experience. It really was. I loved every second of it.
Well, thank you.
It was so well run. It was so well organized. Everybody always talks about Grand Haven. You have to go. You have to go. It's true. You have to go. It's amazing. A small town, like 12,000 people, they get between 300,000 and 500,000 people come to honor the Coast Guard. It's spectacular, really is.
And they all park in my driveway. Thank you.
Thanks for you, and we have some other stuff for you too. You know. This is for you, for your coffees and cold drinks, and this will be a test on this, so I want
All right,
you to read
thank
through
you very
this.
much. I appreciate that.
Okay, good to see you. All right.
It is now my pleasure to introduce to you from the Philippine Coast Guard, Captain Christopher de la Pena Aro.
Thank you, Ma'am Terry. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
To our National Commodore Alexander Malewski, the National Director of the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. Good morning, sir. To Captain Glendale, the head of the auxiliaries of the U.S. Coast Guard. Good morning, sir. To the commanders and directors of the different units of the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. To the members of the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary with me today. Again, a pleasant good morning to everyone. First of all, I'd like to convey to you the message of our Commandant. He is very grateful and thankful for inviting us here. He should be with me today. However, because of his conflict in schedule, he sent me instead to represent the Philippine Coast Guard. And also, I'd like to my special thanks to Ma'am Terry Barth, ma'am, for assisting me personally and the whole of the PCG team. Thank you, ma'am. So, I'll be presenting the update on the Philippine Coast Guard and Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary. So, I am Coast Guard Captain Christopher Auro, the Deputy Chief of Coast Guard Staff for Civil Relations Service. And I'll be presenting again the overview of the Philippine Coast Guard and the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary. So, the scope of my presentation will cover the following areas as shown. For the brief history, on August 1967, the Philippine Coast Guard was created as a major unit of the Philippine Navy by virtue of the Republic Act 5173. On 30 March 1998, by virtue of Executive Order 475, the PCG was separated from the Department of National Defense and was transferred under the supervision of the Office of the President. Later on, the PCG was transferred under the supervision of the Department of Transportation and Communications, or the DOTC, and by virtue of the Republic Act 9993, known as the Philippine Coast Guard Law of 2009, the Philippine Coast Guard was established as the third armed uniformed service of the Philippines under the Department of Transportation. For our functions, the PCG is responsible to perform maritime search and rescue, maritime law enforcement, maritime safety, marine environmental protection, and maritime security. Our vision, by 2028, the PCG is a world-class guardian of the sea committed to save lives, ensure safe maritime transport, cleaner seas, and secure maritime jurisdiction. Our mission: we are a uniformed armed service that implements and enforces all national and international maritime safety, security, search and rescue, and marine environmental protection in support of the integrated maritime transportation network objectives, national security, and economic development of the Philippines. Shown is the organizational structure of the Philippine Coast Guard. The Philippine Coast Guard has three functional commands: the Maritime Safety Security Command, the MEPCOM, or the Marine Environmental Protection Command, the Maritime Security Command. It has 3 admin support commands, 4 operational commands, 4 area commands, and 15 Coast Guard districts, which has the 15 Philippine Coast Guard auxiliary counterparts, which is also strategically located nationwide. It has 6 technical service commands. For our human resource, as of June this year, the PCG has a total of 22,981 personnel composed of officers, non-officers, probationary ensigns, and cadets. As of this year, June, a total of 596 floating assets are under the PCG fleet. 2 out of the 596 assets were only commissioned this year, the 9701 and 9702. So far, these 2 vessels are the largest vessels we have in our inventory. For the air assets, we have 4 fixed-wing aircrafts, the BN Islander, and 2 rotary-wing aircrafts, the Airbuses. For our land mobility, we have a total of 713 land mobility assets. As I mentioned, the PCG is divided into area commands, and the PCG has 15 Coast Guard districts, 89 Coast Guard stations, and 465 Coast Guard substations. For our accomplishments, in terms of maritime safety, we almost have the same functions, so I will not mention each and every one of them, but shown are the accomplishments of our agency in terms of maritime safety. Next, on maritime search and rescue, shown also are our accomplishments. Next, on marine environmental protection, listed also are our accomplishments. For the maritime security, also. And for our law enforcement, also shown are the accomplishments of the Philippine Coast Guard. For the information of everyone, I would like to emphasize that the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary has been our vital partner in attaining all our achievements from the maritime safety, marine environmental protection, maritime search and rescue, and humanitarian assistance, except for maritime security and law enforcement. Now I will present the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary, or the PCGA. The Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary is a service-oriented voluntary organization. It is a non-government, non-political organization whose membership adhere to the Philippine Coast Guard's customs and traditions. Its organizational structure is parallel to the Philippine Coast Guard, and it has its own chain of leadership and management. The PCGA was created on 09 February 1972, purposely to assist the Philippine Coast Guard to perform its mandate on search and rescue. It is also officially covered now under Section 11 of the Republic Act 9993, otherwise known as the Philippine Coast Guard Law. Thereafter, the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary has become instrumental in providing support and assistance to the PCG in promotion of safety of life and property within the maritime jurisdiction of the Philippines. And for the information of everyone, the PCGA is the only non-uniform organization created by the Philippines under the law. It is the only organization created by law. As of June also this year, the PCGA has a total of 19,767 members. 19,500 of them were from the regular squadron, and 257 were from the executive squadron. As I mentioned, the Coast Guard Auxiliary have their 15 Coast Guard districts also in collaboration with the 15 Coast Guard districts of the Philippine Coast Guard. They are responsible in assisting the Coast Guard districts in performing the PCG's mandates and functions. For the functions of the PCGA, they assist the Coast Guard in the conduct of maritime search and rescue, maritime safety, marine environmental protection, and community relations services. Shown are the pictures wherein the PCGA assisted the PCG during maritime safety operations, inspecting vessels, and also passengers with their compliances for safety. Also shown are the pictures on marine environmental protection, wherein the PCGA conducted mangrove planting, coastal cleanups, and scuba sorero. Next, the PCGA also helped us in doing community services like the gift giving, feeding programs, medical and dental missions. Okay, aside from the different functions that they perform, the PCGA also are active in their engagement to the community through the MOU, or the Memorandum of Understanding. The photo on the left was taken during the signing of Memorandum of Understanding between the PCG, Center for International Education Global Colleges Incorporated, and the Rotary Club of Makati Circle of Friends Incorporated last 20 December 2021 aboard our national headquarters. The MOU entitled the Tunay na Scholar ng Bayan, or the Scholarship Program. Recently, the photo on the right was taken during the MOU signing between the PCG and the United Korean Community Association. So the UKCA has committed to partner with the Philippine Coast Guard in conducting humanitarian assistance and disaster response operations to be of service to Filipinos and Koreans in the Philippines. The members of the UKCA will soon become members of the PCGA. Another picture shown is the signing of Memorandum of Understanding between the PCG and the OB Montessori Foundation President, Auxiliary Commodore Sala Sullivan de Guzman, last 19 May 2022 aboard again at our headquarters. Said memorandum will provide teacher training to the PCG CRG teams to enable them to provide child and adult literacy program anchored on the Montessori method of learning. It also aims to establish community centers across all Coast Guard districts that will serve the needs of coastal communities around our Coast Guard stations and substations. Just like the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, we never forget to award and recognize our auxiliaries with their deeds and also promote them of their deserving ranks. So, as shown are the oath-taking ceremony conducted at our headquarters. And also, we have this annual convention just like yours. Shown are the pictures taken during those Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary 37th National Convention last 22 to 23 July in Cebu with the theme Dynamic Synergy at 50 and Beyond. The activity also commemorates the 50th year. So we have already reached the 50 years of our PCGA since then. It was held at Cebu. The number of participants who attended the convention were around 1,500, wherein 1,300 from the PCGA and 150 from the Philippine Coast Guard, composed of the head of units of all the major commands of the Philippine Coast Guard. So that ends my presentation. However, if you may allow me, sir, to also to show to you the latest audio-visual presentation of the Philippine Coast Guard. It will take about 8 minutes, sir, if it's okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
The Philippine Coast Guard is the third armed and uniformed service in the country after the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police. Since 1967, the agency was part of the Defense Department until 1998, when it was transferred to its rightful place in the government bureaucracy, the Department of Transportation. As guardians of the sea, the Philippine Coast Guard has multifarious functions that can be grouped into 5 areas, namely maritime safety, maritime search and rescue, marine environmental protection, maritime security, and maritime law enforcement. These functions are being pursued in accordance with the Coast Guard Law of 2009 and various conventions of the International Maritime Organization, to which the Philippines is a signatory. The Maritime Safety Function. The PCG prioritizes vessel safety to provide the general public with convenient and comfortable sea transport services. It conducts ship safety inspection in order to assess the compliance of ships to national laws and international conventions. It also provides and maintains aids to navigation for the benefit of the mariners and ship operators. During inclement weather, our units in affected areas strictly implement the no-sail policy to prevent the loss of lives and properties at sea. The PCG is also the country's vanguard against the entry of unsafe foreign vessels into the country through its port state control. At present, the Philippine Coast Guard has 14 PSC centers and 29 PSC divisions all throughout the archipelago. The PSC Center in Manila has the bulk of all inspections based on frequency of foreign ship calls. The Maritime Search and Rescue Function. The PCG serves as the Maritime Rescue Coordinating Center in the country. The main coordinating center, the PCG Command Center, is located right at the national headquarters, monitoring and addressing all distress frequencies 24 hours a day. The system is replicated in the various Coast Guard regional districts to create one efficient and reliable coordinating network, able to share information with one another and coordinate one national disaster response. Our rescue units, composed of deployable response groups, rescue swimmers, specialized divers, medical teams, canine units, safety inspectors, and Coast Guard auxiliary are always placed on heightened alert to be able to quickly respond to any maritime or land emergencies, especially during the typhoon season. The Marine Environmental Protection Function, the PCG, in preserving our rich marine environment, is responsible for the Philippine implementation of laws with regards to oil pollution, prevention, mitigation and control through the conduct of marine pollution monitoring and control, enhancement of PCG capability and oil spill response operations, and enforcement of all marine environmental laws and regulations. The Maritime Security Operations Function. Under it, the Coast Guard's direction is towards our expanded presence in the Philippines' exclusive economic zones, including the Southern Philippines, West Philippine Sea, and the Benham Rise. Together with the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, we have intensified our maritime security and maritime safety efforts, anchored on rules-based and peaceful approaches in these areas. We continuously conduct operations to monitor and protect our fishermen so that they may freely conduct fishing operations to support their families. The PCG also performs maritime security in coastal waters and, in coordination with other task agencies, provides security on vessels, ports, and harbors against terrorist attacks. In its Sea Marshal program, the PCG manages composite security forces composed of PNP and PCG elements to protect voyages of passenger-laden vessels in domestic routes. The Coast Guard also boasts of an established nationwide canine unit composed of 500 highly trained sniffing dogs deployed in the major ports throughout the country. The Maritime Law Enforcement Function, the PCG, being a maritime organization, is deputized by 31 government agencies to perform maritime law enforcement functions directed towards the suppression of piracy, smuggling, poaching, illegal fishing, illegal entry, human smuggling, illegal logging, drug trafficking, gun running, and other illegal activities at sea. The PCG has benefited from the modernization efforts of the national government. we received new vessels, aircraft, land vehicles, and facilities, in addition to the increased funding, which allowed us to bolster our ranks with young, competent, and courageous new recruits. At present, we have 28 capital ships, including vessels from Australia, 2 buoy tenders, 1 tugboat, and 10 multi-role response vessels from Japan. We also have 5 patrol vessels that were manufactured in France, including an 83-meter offshore patrol vessel designated as BRP Gabriela Silang. In May and June 2022, we commissioned 2 state-of-the-art vessels from Japan. These are the BRP Teresa Magbanwa and the BRP Melchora Aquino, the PCG's biggest vessels with a total length of 97 meters. Complementing our capital ships and main vessels are 500 boats deployed in various coastal communities nationwide. We also operate 10 BFAR vessels deployed to secure the safety of our fishermen and to protect our marine resources. Providing air support for our vessels are 2 helicopters and 2 fixed-wing aircraft, mainly used for aerial search and aerial surveillance to assess the damage caused by typhoons and other natural calamities. We expect to be able to deploy 40,000 Coast Guard personnel to secure the 37,000-kilometer coastline of the Philippines. From 8,930 PCG men and women at the start of 2016, we are now 22,430 strong. Come September 2022, additional 4,000 recruits will begin their Coast Guard journey with the commencement of their training. After graduation, they will serve in our frontline units in 15 Coast Guard regional districts, 89 stations, and 465 substations across the country. They will be deployed wherever they are needed with the firm commitment of service above self. This is your Philippine Coast Guard, proudly serving maritime and country.
Thank you. And again, it's my honor to be here, and I'm happy to be here with you. And again, thank you for this invitation. Good morning, everyone.
We will now be presenting the Lifetime Awards and have remarks from all the departing DCOs. All right, please come forward when your name is called, if you are present. A-NACO Greg Kesser. A-NACO Rick Saunders. District Commodore, 1st Northern, Byron Moe. District Commodore, 1st Southern, Mark Stone. District Commodore, 5th Northern, Joe Giannatesto. Giannatasio? Joe G. District Commodore, 5th Southern, Alan Fred. District Commodore, 7th District, Pat McNamara. District Commodore, 8th Coastal Region, Patrick Ferry. District Commodore, 8th Eastern, Matt Meyer. District Commodore, 8th Western Rivers, Jeff Geddes. District Commodore, 9th Central, Catherine Slaybaugh. District Commodore, 9th Eastern, Clark Godshall. District Commodore, 9th Western, Harvey Randall. 11 Northern, Dean McFerrin. District Commodore 11 Southern, Charles Geiger, is unable to attend, will be received by DCOS Rick Ebel. District Commodore 14th District, Denise Ankrum. District Commodore 17th District, Johnny Janik, is unable to attend and will be received by his DCOS Marion Parish. District Commodore 13th, Tiny Singler, will you please accept this gift on behalf of all departing DCOs?
Have to go up and down the line.
Yeah, let's do it. What peer pressure you guys have? Thank you, sir. Yeah, sure. Wow, you did tough ones.
Yeah, yes, so everyone will be shipped. I think they're actually gonna ship them tomorrow, so that they didn't get there before you did. And then, did any of you have any parting comments you wanted to make?
Sure, why don't you?
Want me to just start? No?
I hope everyone had as much fun in the trivia time as I did.
Well, it's been a pleasure. About 4 years worth, but but we're ready for the next person to take over too.
It's been absolutely wonderful working with all of you these last couple of years as DCO for 11 North. Had incredible times, working through COVID. We all grew from it. If we didn't, well, that's your own fault. So all right. Thanks, everyone.
Well, I have to say thank you also to everyone. Almost got to have the title Virtual Commodore, but thanks to this session, that's not going to happen.
I was born 67 years ago. Just want to thank everybody. It's truly a team effort, so thank you, team.
I wanted to thank everybody for their understanding and thoughts and wishes and prayers. I was not here for the full week. My mother-in-law is in hospice, but it really gave me a sense of true fellowship. There's 4 social events, and we say that fellowship is the 4th cornerstone. But the outpouring of love and support I've received, I just want to thank everybody for that, because that's real fellowship.
There's no way on earth I can be funny or tell a joke after hearing what Kathy just said. It's been fun. It's been fun. And to you chiefs of staff who say that you have the best class ever, I'm not sure about that. There's a good group of people up here, and I've truly enjoyed the heck out of them. I really have. And I think they are some of the most talented people that I know I've had the honor and privilege of serving with. Especially to my left, Matt and Pat. We are very affectionately known as the 8 balls, the three of us that handle the Coast Guard's 8th District. So it's been a true honor and pleasure, most especially to work with them, but sincerely to work with everyone here, including the National Board. And I know they will miss my tenacity in the audience. There's no doubt about that, but I am departing. That's where we'll leave it. So thank you all.
The thing I like about going after Jeff is he says enough for everybody. Thank you.
I thought Jeff was looking at the clock and figured he had the whole 12 minutes. You're right. No, really, it's been humbling. It's been a humbling experience, and it's been a very rewarding experience. It hasn't been fun all the time, but overall, it's been great. And I want to thank my fellow Commodores, my ASOC class, our ASOC class, for your support and help, and thank NEXCOM for their support, and to the chiefs of staff coming up, best of luck. Thank you.
Well, as your group Commodore, it's been a pleasure. It has been challenging at times, but I couldn't have asked for any greater group of folks to work with during this. And I wish everybody the best as you move on to your next endeavors. And to those of you upcoming, we're always here to help you if needed. But good luck, and thank you.
I'm speaking on behalf of Alan and Fred. He really had a ball these past 2 years. And thank everybody for their camaraderie and friendship and support. And he's had so much fun. He's stepping up as DNACO for Land East. So I'm looking forward to having him as my boss for 2 more years.
It's truly been an honor to be a Commodore and to work with my comrades and work with all of you. To be a Commodore, you don't choose to be Commodore. It's a calling. So call on your members and call on yourself to serve as a Commodore. Thank you.
I'd like to sing a song first. This has been a ride of a lifetime, a truly humbling and outstanding experience. I'd like to thank everybody who's up here receiving their awards for their friendship, camaraderie, support, guidance. I'd like to thank all my district members. Without them, none of this would be possible. The greatest district in the country. The support of my DIROC's office, who has just been absolutely amazing. Sorry, Commander, but I have the best DIROCs in the business. And I thank everybody for your support and wish you all well.
First, I want to say thank you. This has been humbling and a wonderful growing experience working with these great group of people that we started an ASOC with and representing the almost 1,900 members of my district. We do have the best DIROC's team. Sorry, Mark, but mine's here. Looking forward to our next chapter and the next adventures, because we can bring what we've learned back down to the deck plate and hopefully inspire more people to join us and move up and become wonderful leaders. Thank you.
Well, as odd person out, it's been a real pleasure working with all the ANACOs and all of the directorates. And at this time, I'm looking forward to doing whatever our incoming NACO wishes for me to do. Thank you.
people have come up to me over the past week and said, thank you for leading us through the COVID challenge. It wasn't me. It was these guys and girls. You know, because that's, the districts is what it got us through, the members. And it doesn't start with national, it starts at the flotilla, the division, the district level. And these are the folks that did it. You know, they're the ones that had to make the hard decisions for their members. And I couldn't have been luckier, we couldn't have been luckier. They did a spectacular job, and I thank each and every one of you. Thanks so much.
That's not a pizza bar.
The agenda says I get to say some closing remarks, but I'll try and save that for this evening. I don't want to put you through too much pain. But I know some of you probably won't be at the dinner tonight. To those of you, all I can say is thank you. You know, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for everything that you did. You know, thank you for making me so proud to be a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. You know, one person stood up better than the other one. It was just amazing. It's been, you know, I think Mark said it was quite the ride. I can't expand on that. Believe me, it was quite the ride. But we have one more big event. I'm looking forward to the dinner. I saw the Commandant in the hallway, you know, during the break, and she thinks Admiral Ogren's idea is a great idea to have, you know, the awards that we're giving, that we can have like a special device on each ribbon, you know, a little mask, to show what you people have accomplished during, you know, the greatest challenge, well, obviously the greatest challenge that's ever affected the auxiliary. That goes for sure. So thanks again. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting of the National Board. Pat goes first, Mark is the second.
You forgot to ask if there were any announcements.
Well, we can adjourn the meeting, then you can do announcements. All those in favor, but just with the caveat though, even when we adjourn, you still have to listen to Terry, right? All those in favor? Unanimous approval. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we need to go over that one again. Who made the motion and who seconded?
Pat made the motion, Mark seconded.
Okay. I am not going to talk about seating at the banquet. You should be getting, you should be getting emails. We'll help you when you get there if there's any problems. Transportation for the airport tomorrow. Hopefully all of you that got the transportation in have already made arrangements for transportation out and know what you need to do for that. Once again, I want to thank everybody on behalf of the conference staff and the aides for all your support and understanding during this. It's been a challenging event, and so we really appreciate all you've done to make it as easy as possible for us. So thank you very much.
See you tonight.
All right, with that, we're finally.
Alex, my boss is going to.
I have just finished my last official meeting. That's it.
Thank you, Larry.
Are you going to be there tonight? Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh,
So
good.
you're going to be on stage with her and she's going to take all that stuff.
That's great. No, this is tremendous. One of the things they gave me the other day, a coin holder.
Yeah, you're
Huge. Now I'm filling it up, so that's great. Thank you so much. I have quite the collection. Pardon me.
So we reconvene this tomorrow.
Yes, the flag forum.
Yeah.
I wish I knew where that was. I had people, I took a few headshots, and I was like, you know what's funny? 'Cause you were